What follows is my 10-step program for implementing the intentions or to attract the right people into your life. Step 1. Move away from hoping, wishing, praying, and begging for the right person or people to show up in your life. Know that this is a universe that works on energy and attraction. Remind yourself that you have the power to attract the right people to assist you with any desire, as long as you're able to shift from ego-driven energy to match up with the all-providing source of intention. This very first step is crucial, because if you can't banish all doubt about your ability to attract helpful, creative, loving people, then the remaining 9 steps will be of little use to you. Intending ideal people and divine partners begins with the knowing in your heart that it's not only a possibility, but a certainty. Step 2. Conceptualize your invisible connection to the people you'd like to attract to your life. Let go of your exclusive identification with the appearance of your body and its possessions. Identify with the invisible energy within you that sustains your life by directing the functions of your body. Now recognize that this same energy source flowing through the people you perceive to be missing from your life, and then realign yourself in thought with that person or persons. Know within you that this power of intention connects the two of you. Your thoughts of creating this merger also emanate from that same field of universal intention. Step 3. Form a picture in your mind of meeting the person or persons you'd like to have assist you or be in partnership with. Manifesting is a function of spiritual intention, matching up in vibrational harmony with your desires. Be as specific as you'd like, but don't share this visualizing technique with anyone else, because then you'll be asked to explain yourself, defend yourself, and have to deal with the low energy of doubt that will inevitably occur. This is a private exercise between you and your source. Step 4. Act upon the inner picture. Begin to act as if everyone you meet is a part of your intention to attract ideal people into your life. Share with others your needs and desires without going into detail about your spiritual methodology. Be proactive and stay alert for signs of synchronicity, never ignoring them. If a truck drives by with a phone number advertising what you need, jot the number down and call it. See all so-called bizarre coincidences surrounding your desires as messages from Source and act upon them immediately. I assure you that they'll occur repeatedly. Step 5. Take the path of least resistance. Resistance is lowered energy. Source is high energy. High, creative, expansive energy. When your thoughts are low energy vibrations, you simply can't attract the high energy people you need or desire. Even if they came rushing up to you announcing, "Here I am, how can I serve you? I'm willing and able," and carrying a sign saying, "I'm yours," you wouldn't recognize or believe them while you're so busy trying to attract more of what you can't have and don't deserve. Step 6. Practice being the kind of person you wish to attract. As I've touched on before, if you want to be loved unconditionally, practice loving unconditionally. If you want assistance from others, extend assistance whenever and wherever you have the opportunity. If you'd like to be the recipient of generosity, then be as generous as you can, as frequently as you can. This is one of the simplest and most effective ways of attracting the power of intention. Step 7. Detach from the outcome and practice infinite patience. This is the crucial step of faith. Don't make the mistake of evaluating your intentions as successes or failures on the basis of your little ego and its personal time schedule. Put out your intention and practice everything that I'm speaking about in this tape, and then let go. Create a knowing within and let the universal mind of intention handle the details. Step 8. Practice meditation, particularly the japa meditation, to attract ideal people and divine relationships. Practice the repetition of the sound that is in the name of God as a mantra, literally seeing in your mind's eye the energy you're radiating, bringing the people you desire into your life. You will be astounded by the results. Step 9. Look upon everyone who has ever played any role in your life as having been sent to you for your benefit. Everything and everyone in your personal history had to be there when they were. And what's the evidence for this? There they were. They were there. That's all you need to know. Don't use what transpired in the wake or the wrong people who showed up in your wake as a reason why you can't attract the right person today. It's your past, nothing more than a trail you've left behind. And finally, step 10, as always, remain in a state of eternal gratitude. Even be grateful for those whose presence may have caused you pain and suffering. Be thankful to your source for sending them and to yourself for attracting them to you. They all had something to teach you. Now be grateful for everyone God sends to your path, and know as a co-creator that it's up to you to either resonate with the high, loving energy of intention and keep those like-energized people in your life, or give them a silent blessing and a pleasant no thank you. And the emphasis is on the thank you, for that is true gratitude in action. Through relationships with others and by using the power of intention, we can radiate outward all of the energy necessary to attract what we desire. I urge you to move into this awareness now and know in your heart, just as the farmer in Field of Dreams knew, that if you build this inner dream, surely it will come.
There is a world beyond the world of the changing. Beyond the world of the changing. So that the world of the changing, when Lao Tzu, the great ancient founder of the Tao, back in the 5th century BC, the founder of Taoism, a beautiful sort of philosophy which is all summarized in about 83 pages. It's great. All right? You can read it in an afternoon. And Lao Tzu was asked the question, what is real, Master? What is real? And his response was, that is real, which never changes. So almost as if you have to look at your own life and your own self, and you have to ask the question, what part of me meets that criteria? What part of me says, I am eternal? I have always been. What part of you has never changed? I don't know about you, but it's not my body. I promise you that. My body has undergone dramatic changes, but there's inside of this body, there is a witness. And this witness is noticing and observing and has never aged or never changed. Lao Tzu said the second thing that historically everyone has believed in is that we are connected to that world that is never changing. That it is a part of us. We live with it. It's within us. Everything that we see in the physical world is changing. I was giving a talk not too long ago in Baltimore, and I was sitting just jotting down a few things that I wanted to talk about that evening, and there was a mirrored wall right next to me. The whole wall was mirrored. And I was feeling really great. I had just run about 10 miles, and I was just feeling really up and terrific, and I had a nice big audience coming that night, and everything was just really great. And I looked up over at the wall, and then I looked down again, and then I looked again real fast. Have you ever done that, where you look in the mirror and you say, who is that in there? And I looked down, and I looked in again. And then I stopped, and I put my pen down, and I started staring at this face that was looking back at me. And I said, there's an old man in there renting my face. That's not me. You see, the part of me that is in here, that has been watching this, that has been observing this, that has been noticing this, has never aged and never does. It never can. I remember one time I was out running when we were on the road, and my wife was with me, and I'd been running for a couple of hours and early in the morning, and it was a real beautiful, crisp morning, and she waved at me and she said, come on, we're going to have breakfast or something. And I stopped running and I ran across this field, and there was a fence. The fence was about this high. And I ran up to the fence and I hurled over the fence. I just jumped over the fence. And she looked at me, she said, you can't do that. I said, do what? She said, you're 56 years old. You don't jump over fences when you're 56 years old. You could kill yourself. I said, I forgot. And the part of me that's in here, that's noticing, that's watching, and the part of you that's in you, watching, things are falling. You've noticed that, right? Things are wrinkling. Things are turning gray. There's a process of shifting and changing. But there's a world beyond that. And all of these great teachers speak to that world, the world that is beyond the world of the changing. And it's almost as if we have to begin to know that world. There's a famous poem by Emily Dickinson, who's one of the people I wrote about in Wisdom of the Ages. Emily Dickinson, who 19th century poet, lived up in Massachusetts. Brilliant lady, wrote thousands of poems. A lot of them were about higher awareness and higher consciousness. in very simple language. She said, imagine holding up a handful of dust or dirt. She said, this quiet dust was gentlemen and ladies and lads and girls, was laughter and ability and sighing and frocks and curls. This passive place, a summer's nimble mansion where bloom and bees fulfilled their oriental circuit, then ceased like these. This quiet dust was gentlemen and ladies and lads and girls, was laughter and ability and sighing and frocks and curls. It's all quiet dust, all of it. And it's all in a state of change. And who we are is not that dust. And that's what the poets and the philosophers and the great teachers have come to tell us about and risk their lives to tell us, that there's something more to it. You all, when you go to the physician and you get a blood test, and they'll come back and they'll tell you about your iron count. There's a finite supply of iron on the planet. Just so much iron. Some of it's flowing through your veins. The question, the eternal question, is where was that iron that's flowing through your vein before you showed up here? And where will it be when you leave? Because who you are is not that which is that material, but who you are is that quiet observer in there. And this is called, for want of a better term, it's called the world of the soul.
Bucky Fuller, who I served with on the Hunger Project Advisory Council for 9 years, who died not too long ago, said that 99% of who you are, you can't touch, you can't see, you can't smell. 99% of you is untouchable, unsmellable, invisible. It is what Ken Kais has called your conscious awareness. It's what looks out behind those eyeballs. What is that? It isn't cells. It's some kind of conscious awareness that you are. And make no mistake about it, you've occupied a whole lot of bodies already. Now, this is not reincarnation talk. Although, I don't know about this reincarnation. People ask me if I believe in it. I said, well, I taught in a junior high school in the inner city of Detroit for 4 years. And I saw those dead bodies come to life every day at 3 o'clock. So I believe in reincarnation, all right? Now, if 99% of who you are, you can't touch and you can't feel and you can't smell, then what is it? Who is it? Where are you? What is this thing called your essence or who you are? And where does it go? Now think of this. You were in a body. I have a little baby girl who's 11 months old. And we were all in a body that size. Well, it's only a body about this big. Got fingers only this long. You know? Got tiny, tiny little parts all over the place. I mean, she's only this tall. Now, is that her? Is that her essence? Because I have other children who are much older, and I am much older than that, and I can remember being 3 and being in a different body. Still me, still my essence there, different body, totally different, doesn't even look anything like when I was 11 months old. And then I was 13 and had a funny body at 13, but still my essence was there in a whole new body. Hairs growing all over the place that I didn't understand, all kinds of things happening to it, you know. Then hairs falling out of it later on, you know. Looking at those hairs that fall out and say, what held it in yesterday? You know, I don't know. I don't even understand that, okay? And so it's like who I am has been in many, many bodies already, all right? And that essence, you see, everything on our planet that is alive can never die. It can never die. Life doesn't die. It just transforms. It just moves on to new places and new ways of being, new ways of being. And the way of being that is the most transcendent of all is this way that comes from seeing yourself as love and only having that to give away. Only having that to give away. Let's say I were to stand up here in front of you and just visualize for a moment that I have an orange. And I take this orange and I squeeze it. as hard as I can squeeze it, okay? What's going to come out? Juice. What kind of juice? Orange juice. Apple juice, any chance? Once in a while? Come on, now and then. A little mango juice come out of an orange once in a while? No mistakes, right? Never, no matter what. Next question. Everybody passes. These are easy, okay? Why, when you squeeze an orange, as hard as you can squeeze it, does orange juice come out? Because that's, not because it's an orange, because that's what's inside, isn't it? On our planet, when you squeeze something, what comes out of it is what's inside. Not too difficult, all right? Does it matter if your mother squeezes the orange? Does it matter what instrument she uses? Does it matter if you just had your period and then you squeeze an orange? Does it matter if your boss squeezes it? How about if your kids do it? Your kids squeeze an orange. Does it matter? Does it matter what time of day? Suppose they do it at noon, all right? How about at 4 in the morning? Does that matter? Whenever you squeeze an orange, the only thing you get out is what's inside, right? No arguments. Same thing works for you. Same principle works for you. It's a principle of the universe, all right? Someone squeezes you. That is, someone puts pressure on you. Someone says things about you that you don't like. Someone puts attention on you, whatever. Your boss says something to you that you don't like. And out of you comes anger. And out of you comes hatred. And out of you comes fear. Or out of you comes stress. Or out of you comes tension. Why? Is it because of your boss and the way they squeeze you? Never. Is it because of your mother? I mean, she really can be a pain sometimes, right? Is it because of your children? No. What comes out of you always when someone squeezes you is what's inside. This is the vital principle of being a no-limit person. It's so crucial to get this and understand that. That if you have any hatred in your heart for anyone in this world, or any anger, or any fear, or any of those things, it has nothing to do with the rest of the world. It only has to do with what you put inside. Now, how does what gets inside of you get there? That's the key. How does it get there? As you think. Only as you think. You see, there's no anger in the world. There's no stress in the world. There's no tension. It's perfect. We've already established. It's a perfect place. It works just fine. It's all flowing the way it's supposed to flow. The evidence for it is, it is. That's all the evidence you need. Just look around you. Everything out there is a miracle. Everything, including you. There are no mistakes. It's all perfect. And everything that happens to you in your life, whether it's a trauma, whether it's a disease, whether it's somebody treating you in a certain way, there's a lesson in all of it. No-limit people understand the lesson in life, and therefore celebrate the lessons.
There's perfect timing in the universe, and our arrival on Earth was a part of that synchronicity. In other words, we were an idea of God's whose time had come. This chapter introduces the concept of perfect timing, and how to believe in it, notice it, tune into it, and apply it. Faith banishes all doubt. We know that ego has virtually no control over what happens to us. Our body grows, develops, changes, and declines independent of ego's desires or opinions. We know that eventually we'll shed this garment we've been wearing for a lifetime, not when our ego decides, but when that idea's time has come. You see, we must have faith in a universe that's created and guided by an intelligence greater than our ego, one where there can be no accidents. When an idea's time has come, it can't be stopped, but by raising our vibration to match that of the universal source of being, we can bring about that idea's time. We can raise our level of consciousness from ego and group dominance to what I call visionary consciousness, in which we reconnect to the mind of God. We banish all doubt by our knowing, which is a higher level of consciousness than believing. Our vision is God's vision, in a manner of speaking. When we banish all doubt in favor of faith, there's nothing more powerful on this planet. You must believe, and then you'll see it unfolding right before your eyes. Co-creating with Spirit. Keep in mind that we can't co-create with anyone, including our spiritual source, unless we're in a place of harmony. To that end, we must suspend our false self, the ego, and stop all thoughts of resistance before we can participate in creating the inspired life we desire, in perfect symmetry with Spirit. Whatever we ask of our source in our prayerful communion will no longer be a wish or a hope. It will become a reality in our mind, just as it is in the mind of God. The how and when of its arrival, which have always troubled ego, are no longer issues. We maintain our optimism and thoughts such as, I desire it, it's in harmony with my source, or it's on its way, there's nothing to fuss about, and then we can relax and surrender to our knowing. Again, as Ernest Holmes reminds us, the thing we surrender to becomes our power. I know that the term surrender is generally associated with defeat, but there's no victor or victim when surrendering to God. This isn't about winning or losing. You see, what we're doing here is giving up our false self in favor of returning to our authentic self. And when we do, we'll meet our spiritual creator and become empowered to live in the same vibration with it. We'll become co-creators by surrendering and joining the all-knowing, all-creating force that allows everything to come into existence. Then our knowing replaces our doubts, and divine will prevails at all times. Only now, we're in harmony with that divine will. There's an old saying, fear knocked at the door, and faith answered, and no one was there. Fear stems from doubts we have about our divinity. The antidote to fear is faith. I know within that I am not alone, ever. I know that I have divine guidance available to me at all times. This inner knowing makes fear impossible. You too are not alone, and you also have omnipresent guidance accessible at will. When you truly know that the loving presence is always with you, the possibility of living with both doubt and fear evaporates. This is a belief that you can't get from another person. It has to have the quality of being a knowing. Then the notion of fear vanishes. When we're ready, willing, and open to it, the divine guidance we seek will spring into action on our behalf. It has been that way throughout our life. We're in a system that's directed by a supreme intelligence, and we're part of that system. Everything is on purpose. Our vibrational matchup determines what we attract and what we repel in our life. We needn't focus on what's already happened and what we've gone through. Rather, we must shift our vibration upward so that it harmonizes with spirit, and then and only then will spiritually based ideas come knocking on our door. These ideas won't give up or go away because, as we know, there's nothing in this universe more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Our responsibility is simply to become beings who expect and await inspired ideas that will not and cannot be stopped. Truly, there's absolutely nothing in this universe, including ourselves, that isn't perfectly timed. There are no wrongful deaths or mistakes. What shows up is ours, and it showed up precisely on schedule. I'd like you to think about the simple wisdom that the former slave and philosopher Epictetus imparted to us nearly 2,000 years ago. It is my business to manage carefully and dexterously whatever happens. Now there's a powerful idea whose time has come.